So, my crew and I got a chance to play New World during the preview test. I played many hours and got plenty of footage. I really enjoyed the game, however, it had a crap ton of issues. While streaming, we complained about many of the issues the game had, especially the lag. So, my crew wanted to do a podcast showing off gameplay of the game and just talking about the pros and the cons. This video is long, as it is a broadcast, so I will create a separate small video with a list of the pros and cons and some gameplay. This is my first time doing a podcast, so I hope you enjoy it. What did you guys think about the game, or its pros? What did you like about it?
I thought it was fun. Just like generally, like it's fun, but like it has a lot of downsides. Like it's a basic starter MMO at this point, like where it is right now.
Yeah. So, something that I did find really cool about the game is the fact that you can have multiple weapon types, so it's not like, oh, you basically just pick one class, like how in most MMOs you'd be like, okay, I'm an archer, this character is an archer, and where in this game you could just be like, oh, I want to have a bow and I want to have a sword and board. I want to have a bow, but I also want to be able to like heal. I want to be like a bard or like a cleric or whatever, and stay in the back and like, yeah, I'm shooting, I'm helping with damage, but I'm also healing and stuff like that. And I thought that was absolutely very well done, especially with the very from what I'm hoping to be a more intricate skill system, but the skill system itself, I feel has a lot of potential from its current standing.
Yeah, like in Final Fantasy 14, you're able to use you can use all those classes on one character, which is really cool. But like in here, you're able to use a different functionality. You can have 3 different weapons with 3 different sets of skills that you can use. You can change up and create all sorts of different skill sets and to use in PvE, PvP, and all sorts of things. So it's really cool how they set it up.
Yeah.
And you can swap in the middle of, you can be in the middle of combat and still swap.
Yeah, and still swap weapons. Yeah. That's like, I need a dash, and you can swap to, I'm guessing it's the heal stuff. Yeah, no, I never used it, but yeah, I never used it, but I know, yeah, I used it.
You'll be surprised if you guys have played a little bit more. Every single person now that I see has a light staff just to freaking teleport. Just to dash.
The fire staff has a dash too. It just has a cast time, and it does damage on your way through, like to everybody else, whoever touches it.
No one uses it
because of the cast time.
The light staff is instant.
It's because of the cast time.
Like,
yeah, the only thing that I'm very worried about when it does come to the abilities is they're becoming a meta, right? Because you know how it is a meta. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know how clever people are, and people will, like you just said, that people are just going to be very much focused on, okay, well, I want this life staff because this one gives me the biggest leap for PvP, and if you're in a PvP guild, it's like, okay, well, you're gonna follow meta no matter what. I feel like so you can win in like these guild wars or whatever this game decides to implement for being in a guild or having a guild or whatever.
Yeah, like what I've noticed though is like, yeah, you have to though there is 3 weapons, so most likely no matter what, they're gonna have a light staff just so you can use that one skill and maybe heal yourself up every once in a while. But like if there was only 2 things, you have to think about, well, okay, if I use this light staff, then I won't be able to use this other weapon that is very, very good in PvP actual combat, because if you just say, oh, all I have is this light staff and this hammer, people that I verse that are this type of weapon are just going to absolutely destroy me, right? So though they have 3 slots, everybody's going to have a light staff.
So you get because then only limited to what's it called? To just 2 slots because you have the life staff.
Yeah, I would say 2. Yeah. Because you have to actually think of, so everybody has this random light staff that they're just Because I went down to the corrupted area, and there was probably about 50 people rushing there, and every single person had a light staff. And on this one hill, because they were all side by side, used it at the same time. and everybody's shooting forward, and their characters are shouting like crazy. It was like, what in the world?
Yeah, but if it becomes meta, people who don't have that light staff are gonna have the upper hand, and then it's not gonna be meta anymore. It's just the way that MMOs go, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like I'm usually not a fan of meta, so at the end of the day, it's like I kind of want everything to be balanced to the point where it's like you can really use whatever you want in PvP. Like, if they have life stuff, you can still use magic, or you can still use the bow and arrow, and still come out, just fine, as long as you use the skills correctly.
For me, I really enjoy the musket, but the musket, however, doesn't do much damage. It is actually very poor in its damage, because you have to craft your bullets, you have to hit those headshots, and you have a big reload time. So, but the problem with that is that if the game decided, if you actually hit those shots, you actually do a crap ton of damage, it's not that way, because you're literally doing the same amount of damage as any other weapon for their basic attack. So it's very bad. I like this musket, but if I can't output the amount of damage that I need to really do anything, then there's no point in me using that weapon. And
yeah, definitely there are some very slight balancing issues that need to.
Yeah, especially with what's it called? The hatchet. The hatchet is so OP right now. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, basically what I was saying is the hatchet, the throwing thing, it doesn't require any ammo, and it does the same amount of damage as my freaking shooting from my musket, so I can literally just switch my hatchet, and I can fire faster with my thing, and it's literally a 5-second cooldown on those throws.
Yeah, so overpowered.
So I could just...
Yeah.
I just keep constantly throwing.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that's what I'm saying, that like, there's definitely balance changes that need to be made to the weapons just in general. I feel like their skills need to be expended upon as well, because like if anything, like, I'd want this game to do something unique with their sword and shield instead of it just being typical sword and shield combat, like
spinny spin.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, you get a spinny spin, you get your stab, and you get your back stab, and then you get your slash, and that's it.
The bash attack for the spin thing is, or not the spin thing, but the sword and shield, the bash attack doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
like it.
Oh, you mean the stun attack? With you swing your shield?
It doesn't. If you don't hit them properly, like say they're attacking and you use it to try to combat that, it won't do anything. You'll take a shit ton of damage, but they won't get stunned or nothing. It won't knock them out of the animation or whatever.
Oh, you're talking about those damn farmers that are freaking
or
charging
even the panthers or whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah, it doesn't work for certain animations. I believe.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying.
That's the point.
Yeah,
so you can cancel it. Yeah, I've tried to use it in PvP, and for some reason I just can't hit the players with it, so I had to just not use it anymore. So I
stopped using it too. And another thing with the combat thing, like I get like it being like right now it's free to keep resetting your skills so you can try everything, right? But the issue is some of the skills, if you don't read them all and you don't follow a particular path, you could get screwed in the long run, because you can only choose one within that column. You can only have one. You can't once you're down to the third column, then you can go back and select the other ones. But then it's too late, because now you have to go all the way back and figure out which way you want to go. And like some of them goes, oh, this buff makes it, like for the fire staff, there's one buff that makes all your fire attacks stronger, but it's at the third one. But if you're following the line down, you can't get that because you have to go down to the middle to get the big one. So you miss a lot of stuff to get. So I didn't like that at all, because I had to follow you have to go straight down to get the big one, and then you miss all the stuff on the side because you can only get the one. Until your 3 skills in, and it takes so long to level your thing. And even when you're fighting like higher level enemies, like I think me and Catboy, I think you were there too.
Oh yeah,
we went after annoying. Like level 30s or whatever, level 20s at level like 12.
Yeah, like level 16 and stuff like that. Yeah,
and it gave us like no experience.
Yeah, it was like you would think that you would get a ton more experience depending on where you're actually going. See, I went over down to the 45 areas as 35, and those enemies would 2-shot me at level 32, I believe, and they would only give 400 XP. So I'm like, hold on a second here. If I can one-tap enemies down at, the starting farm area and get, 150 HP, and I could just group them all and just kill them every single time in a couple hits... Then it's so much easier just to do that.
Like, why even, it makes you not want to go anywhere else. Be like, I'll just stay here and farm everybody. Like, it's so much easier.
Yeah. Something I was gonna say about that as well is, honestly, like, as odd as it is to say, I think Pokemon did it right. You know, like, if in Pokemon Black and White, you'd get, say your Pokemon was level 45 and you killed a level 50, you'd get level 50 experience because you'd be killing a level 50. Yeah. So your Pokemon maybe would gain 2-3 levels or whatever because you killed a level 50. So I think, like, if anything, that needs to be changed. So it's like you're getting experience worth, like, you're encouraged to punch above your weight. Yeah, you're encouraged to punch above your weight, to go to these more difficult areas, learn the game, get more, learn what you're doing, and be able to kill shit like that.
Talking about that, what was very confusing is that bosses are the same way. You can verse a boss, and they're still going to give you a tiny bit of experience, so there's really no point in actually going for bosses, because the only thing that bosses are protecting is a chest randomly in there, and the chests are all random, and it's not... Like, there's no point, and the only reason you loot the chests is, like, you're trying to get, tannin or random resources, but it's randomly generated. It's not like you're going to get a resource from that thing, or this area is going to drop a really rare chest piece or whatnot. Like, it's so weird, because when I go to an area and I want to open up a chest, I'm not expecting it to still be there. Or I thought... Like, if you've played ESO or all those other things, they have chests that, let's say, they randomly appear on the map, and once one person uses it, it disappears. So you have to, like, it's really about luck. And this thing
I feel like honestly,
too many freebies.
Honestly, well, for me, I think it's stuff like that should always be handled client side, right? So, like, if say you, me, and Yuki go into a boss, and we kill that boss, but, boss drops their thing, everybody gets their chest, everyone gets the same loot, but...
Yeah.
I'd say same loot, or something to the effect of, like, it checks what weapons you have equipped, and it will give you relative to that, right? So, like, say the chest is supposed to give you, say you have a sword, shield, and a bow, right?
Yeah.
You'd get, base, since you had that, the boss would drop a powerful bow, because you have a bow equipped. Right, so that incentivizes you to, carry different weapons and have different things on you if you want to play the game to its fullest, I guess you could say.
Unless they're going for an RNG kind of deal, like it's just
God,
based.
I hope not.
It's just based, like, if it's just based on, like, luck or whatever, then it's like that's not a big deal either. Like, that's not so bad.
Like, for it's just because there's so many damn chests. Like I said, when I hop into MMO and I see a chest, I think that's like, oh crap, chest, and I go loot it, and well, it's still there, and someone else can get it, and then I come back and it's there again, and it's just like, well, I guess the chest is not really important in this game, and there's no chests that are really greater than the other ones. Like, yeah, there's some that look bigger, but they're basically the same thing because you can get the same thing from every single one. Like, there's no benefit of me going to the boss area, killing him to open his chest.
Yeah. But again, that's a case of I want incentive to be, going out and killing bosses at that point.
Yeah, I want the incentive to actually go do something, because if I'm not getting anything from that, then there's no point in me doing it. It's the same with, I guess, the PvP currently right now. There's really no point in going around killing people unless you're just really wanting to have fun. Like, you don't get something from killing an enemy faction member.
Well, the PvP thing, that is really messed up, because when me and Nero were playing, I think, I called you for help. There was the one dude kept going out of his way to sit and wait for us to see if we were PvPing. And even when we clearly weren't, he still kept trying to jump us and kill us. And then when he realized that he finally realized he couldn't, he left, would go behind a corner and sit and wait again, and he did it like maybe 3 or 4 times until you killed him.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And what's the, I understand the point of PvP and stuff like that, but what's the point of doing that?
Yeah, because, well, usually in MMORPGs, well, hold on, usually in MMORPGs, if you're the enemy faction or whatnot, you can go around kill them, or you can just flag and unflag in the open world constantly, just randomly. But in this one, you have to go to the town to enable or disable PvP mode. So that actually fixes that. If people actually knew that, then they would know if someone has this certain marker above their head, that's when they're in PvP or not in PvP mode. I don't know why that guy was attacking.
But there is a quest that tells you go into PvP mode and do that stuff.
Yeah, and go kill certain things. If you die, you loot. You basically have to restart the entire quest.
But people who forget that they say they finished the quest and they forgot that they were in PvP, then they go off and try to do the actual quest. They can just keep getting ganked. It could even probably say they have a campfire near where they left, because some people would put it down, right?
Oh, hold on. When you turn in your quest, if you accept that quest and it puts you in PvP mode and you turn it in, it actually disables your PvP mode. Yeah, but
what if I'm just saying, just generally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, say if you stop playing for a while and you come back or something like that, you just
and you forgot to disable.
No, not just. Well, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Say people stop and they come back and they go, oh, well, I'm going to go help my friend now, or I'm going to do this. And then they just keep getting jumped over and over and over and over and over. And
by those players, yeah. It's kind of annoying when you have these just random big boy guilds of 10 people, and you're like, oh, I'm by myself. I need to go and do those PvP quests so that I can actually level up or move to the next really thing to do. It gives that thing saying, hey, you need to do these quests in groups and parties and stuff like that. It's just some people don't like doing groups and parties, or their allies are not online right now or something. If during, in PSO2, right? How people are in the lobby area and they're shouting, hey, looking for group to go do this thing. And that a lot of people are just really friendly. Say, oh yeah, sure, I'll join you. There was this random thing. He was asking, he wanted to do this, and I was just randomly chilling. I was like, oh sure, I'll join you. Just for the heck of it, just to do something.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it alone, you should be able to do it alone. And when people just randomly going out, what confuses me, like I said, there is no benefit to PvP right now. You don't really get faction tokens.
Yeah. I think that
the only gold you get is literally 0.20.
I think at least in my opinion, if they do want to change PvP at all, to set, I don't remember what game did this, but there was a game that I remember playing that there was certain areas in the map, right, that you'd be able to teleport to, quick travel to, and stuff like that, that if you went there, that was a PvP zone.
There's a lot of games like that. Yeah.
That's the PvP zone. You want a PvP, you go there. This specific section of the map. Everywhere else, PvP is disabled. You can't toggle it or anything, but no story quests and no important quests would go through that area. You'd have to specifically go out, find the side quests in order to unlock that area, and then you'd go into that area to do PvP. So
I think what they should do is like faction war, like I guess during that day where the faction wars, right? Everybody is toggled as PvP. So you're there to defend your faction territory. Like during those specific hours.
Not a good idea.
That forces people to do stuff they don't want to do. So say say they don't like to do PvP. So maybe an option should come up and say, would you like to join?
Would you like to join the faction?
That?
Yes, because
well, they have.
Well, I'm saying,
but you have to actually sign up.
Well, no, but I'm saying that because you're saying that the faction war, everyone gets set in the faction, right? It's like me as a player, I'm not a fan of PvP. I'm never particularly a fan of PvP. Like I'll try it out, but I'm never really particularly a fan of it. So as someone who is like that, who just doesn't really much care for PvP usually, saying, all of a sudden I'm part of, what was it called, like the Cerulean faction or something like that? Or am I thinking of a different game? Yeah, I think it was Blade and Soul. But anyway, at the end of the day, say I'm part of the X faction, right? And then all of a sudden, PvP war starts, everyone in that faction gets swapped over to PvP mode. Something like that. Me as a player, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna put down the game because I have I don't know how many people can actually associate or relate to this, but I'm the type of person to just
you despise PvP.
No, not that I despise PvP. Like I said, I'm willing to give it a try, and a lot of times, if it is fun, I will play it occasionally. Like in PSO2, I actually have fun with the PvP, and the only reason I don't play it is because we can't play together because you're S rank, right? So
that's dumb.
The thing is that when it comes to PvP and when it comes to me as a player, if it said, PvP is now the whole world now is PvP, I'd just be like, okay, I'm gonna put down the game, and I'm more than likely gonna be putting down the game for the rest of the day. And then going
waiting till that PvP's over.
And even if the PvP's over, and say I'm in the middle of doing something like I'm playing Final Fantasy, or I'm playing Minecraft, or I'm playing something else, at that point I'm just
it's my issue, right, is that right now with PvP and with the factions is because of the faction imbalance. There is a massive faction imbalance because we have let's say 20 people online in our faction, in the sense of in a guild, and whereas the purples and the blues, or purples and greens, they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people online that are all in guild actively on the server we were playing. I could not find a single Covenant member anywhere, not even in our own territory. I went over to our territory and it was a literal ghost town. See, I was doing in faction chat, and their excuse is, they might be in our territory. I went over there, every single territory. I didn't spot a single one, except probably one or two in the entire territory.
And when we do restart, when the whole thing gets wiped, now because of that alone, now I think that when we get in the game, now I have to look and see what's the most popular faction.
Yeah, I think that honestly.
I don't really like that.
I know, that's my point.
That sucks. That's honestly really bad. But the thing is that I don't know of a good way to fix it, because there's the one hand where it's you have to keep an equilibrium. So say there's 20. I'm gonna assign them colors because fuck it, right? There's purple, red, and blue, right? Say there's 25 people in purple, 20 people in red, and then 15 people in blue. You can only join red and blue because purple has the majority. But the thing being is that like, what if say you started playing the game before me and Yuki or whatever, and you're like, hey, come on in, come play this game with us, and then we're playing through the start, we get to that point, and then it's like, oh, I'm part of purple, but we can't join purple because we can't.
Yeah, but it's just the problem with that is that what's gonna kill the game faster? One faction that controls the entire world, or everybody has equal standing?
For me, the thing is that like, I'm looking at it like, I think if anything, it's the faction that's ruling the whole world. But the thing is that like, I want like, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the social aspect of an MMO that keeps people playing a lot of the time. It's like the fact that I can make friends and meet people and stuff like that, and play with my friends that I already have. So taking away that option
like the
is where the issues would be, unless they'd add a thing where like, I know Blade and Soul does this, where you can buy the opposite team's outfit.
And to be able to be with your friends,
in order to play with your friends. So if they're on blue and you're on red, you can buy the blue outfit, just swap out, and then like just do that whenever you want to be on the other faction. So unless they did something like that like Blade and Soul did, then it would be
Or they could do a thing where you have the capability of becoming a mercenary guild instead of joining an actual faction.
Everybody would pick mercenary.
Let's say a fourth faction.
Knowing the way that the world, everyone would be mercenary.
Everyone would pick mercenary, and the whole faction system would be dead.
Yeah.
Because there'd be no reason to. If anything, it'd end up being like you're familiar with how FFs works, right? Because there's a three faction, the one in Limsa Lominsa, the pirates, the ones in Ul'dah, and the ones in Gridania. But they don't really do anything. You can pretty much just do their quest, ignore it, and then move on with your life.
That's just your starter zone. That's literally it's just your intro area. But another thing that is a downside is it separates everybody. Yeah. Like at the very beginning, we all started the exact same time. We all wanted to play together, and you guys were miles and miles away from me. And even if I went halfway across the world to go play with you guys, I couldn't do my quest because I had to do it where you guys were.
And especially like I was saying during the stream and during like while we were playing, I feel like it would have been better to do something similar to like an instant system where, say, there's like 4 locations on the map, and then if more than likely you're going to be in like a Discord call or a message site with your friends, so you can just be like, hey, let's all go to camp 2, or let's all go to 3, or what have you, and then all of you can spawn together, do all the quests together. Because honestly, like, it felt like I was playing a single player game, but with it's like, oh, I was playing a single player game, but there's just a bunch of other fuckers around me.
Yeah.
And that's all it felt like. And I bet it felt even worse for Yuki, because she's the one who spawned like 62,000 miles away, and we all of us spawned together, albeit we were all at different parts.
we had to run all the way over there.
We would have had to run all the way over there and like do stuff like that, and like I said, like it just feels like you're playing a single player game, but you're in a call with a bunch of people who are playing the exact same single player game.
Yeah, like, that was really dumb. There should be a way when you first start, it gives you the option to say, camp 1, 2, 3, or whatever, how many spawns they actually have, and you could choose whatever it's like, oh, I want to start here with my buddies. Like, if you play the density test, or whatever test this is, the preview test, you should be able to just like, oh, I know this area is good, so let's start here. And so we all start there. We have an option to choose there. We'll camp 1, 2, 3, or wherever we want to get shipwrecked on, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I know they set it up saying the lore is saying you're getting shipwrecked, so you're landing randomly on the map. something like that. And I understand that it connects with the lore, but this does prove a lot of issues.
Yeah, but you also have to think about the fact that, like, yeah, you're sacrificing gameplay and a social aspect that, again, a lot of people look for in MMOs.
Yeah.
And you're kind of throwing it out the window because...
Yeah, they have to understand is that we are technically not the character, okay? We are playing as the character, but we're not that character.
That I understand. Like, that the whole shipwreck thing, that the lore is fine. Like, you can have the lore whatever you want. But the point is regardless of where you start, regardless of what the lore is, regardless of what people's actual thoughts on this are, it's even if you do start and you are shipwrecked, the beginning area you are by yourself. Yes, that's fine, because that's how it is. But when you go over that little mountain or whatever and cliff and come down, there is a shit ton of people there. There's people there regardless of if they're your friends or not. Majority of the time, it's just random people. So why can't I choose where I want to go? Or even like if I have when you go in and you want to choose a starter class, just like FF does. Why not let me start in this particular area, have melee start somewhere, have magic users or range start somewhere in particular. That would be fine but let me finish a story quest and then go hang out with my friends, because every single one of my quests had to be turned in back at my original place, so I couldn't stay with you guys regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you couldn't come to our spot
exactly
and quest over here.
Even though they're all the exact same quests. You guys have the same quests as me, same quest givers, because everybody looks the same. But I was not allowed to hand it in over there, and I've tried.
Yeah.
And that was so dumb to me.
See, the only thing because the faction quest, you can start the faction quest anywhere. You can join the faction anywhere you want. So you can go all the way down south and actually press select and join faction. Yeah, it's like they should have done it like that. Or they should have just literally did choose whatever you want to, wherever you want to start at, wherever you want to get shipwrecked.
Yeah. Specifically, one of the other things that was very, very big for me was I clearly didn't know this game very well. Like, I went into it like completely blind, but like, it just felt like I said earlier, it's just a single player experience, but there's people around you now.
And there's people that kill you.
It's just like, and like you were saying that like, it's not like, we could go over to her or she could come to us, and we could go to walk around with her and then do shit over there and it just be the same progress. And like the fact that it's separated like that, like I'd understand if maybe say the tutorial went up to level 15, right? 15, 20, at latest 25, you'd go and you'd talk to these people, get acquainted with big characters or whatever, and whatever the MMO considers to be big characters, because I don't pay attention to story in most MMOs. But get introduced to all these people, blah blah whatever, and then it has some sort of excuse for you to go like, go meet the leaders of the other classes or whatever, and then that's when you'd be able to like say you wanted to do bow, and it's just like, okay, well, here's bow, here's how you make ammo, this is and then you'd be
no tutorial system.
There is no tutorial system whatsoever. So that's what I'm saying, is like it'd be better if they did have like a tutorial up to like level 15, 20, and it's just like, okay, well, this is how you make ammo, this is how you craft, this is how you do this is how you go gather me wood or whatever, and then teach you about the market board, but also teach you how to make your own shit, because it's like, if you're too lazy, there you go, there's a market board. Stuff of high value is because people are just more difficult to get,
the only tutorial thing that we got really about crafting was when we were at the campfire when we first start, and he's like, oh, here, take the go kill that, skin that boar, and press E on this campfire, and then craft your shit. And then that was it. I was like, oh, okay, so I have to do something like this, and then that. It's basically, it sounds like It's a very poor teacher.
Especially later when they tell you, oh, go find the stone cuttery and go do this, right? And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck does it look like? And where is it?
That part was so dumb. Like it's like, oh, go find this and go make this. Okay, where is it? Because everything looks the same. Yeah. And the level 2,
I had trouble trying to find certain things.
You can't use the level 2 stuff to make level 1 stuff. So I kept finding the stone cutter level 2. But I couldn't make what I need to make on the level 2. I had to go out and find the level 1. Yeah.
Wait, seriously?
Really? Oh,
yeah. In the town that I was in.
I didn't experience that.
That's weird as fuck. Yeah, no.
I kept asking Catboy, like, okay, well, where is he? He's like, I don't know. And I was like, dude.
Yeah,
I was getting so frustrated.
Well, I think there was certain things where it says there's the multiple tiers, right? And there were certain things I saw that didn't say tier 1, but because there's only tier 2
but
stuff.
Like, again, the thing still being the fact that, like, first, we don't know what the fuck it looks like because it's all the same, and there's no, like, marker on the map either. It's not like they're like, oh, go over here to the stone cutter, or go over here to the whatever, go over here to the other thing, and, like, okay, go do that. It was just like, oh, go find this shit in this super crowded city filled with buildings and a bunch of other shit. So if you walked into that building that had the furnaces in it,
opening the big map in the laggy ass city, like, you not only did you have to open the big map, but you had to also zoom in and you had to wait for it to reload, like, all the new chunks. And it's like, this is the worst because it is so laggy.
Because it is so fucking laggy in the cities. Yeah, especially. And like not to veer too far off from the original point, but like you having to sit there and then what do you call it, like them saying, okay, go find this or whatever, and it's like, oh, tier 2 whatever. What do these tiers mean?
Yeah.
Why do I care? What do these tiers mean? Are there higher tiers that can make better stuff, or the lower? What's up with the lower tiers?
Yeah,
what's up with they never explained it, so it was just like, okay, well, I know tier 2's tier 2.
There was no explanation.
Yeah, it's like, I know tier 2 is tier 2, and there's a tier 3, probably. Who knows how high this shit goes? For all I know, there's a tier 78. I don't fucking know. I'm not programming this game. You know, like, and like sitting here in this laggy ass city, trying to craft, trying to navigate your way through it. There's dozens of players everywhere. There's, you know, NPCs that like are of little to no help either, because it's not like when it came to like the stonecutter or the forger or whatever, that you could talk to someone. It's like, oh, hey, I'm a blacksmith, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, do you want to buy weapons from me or anything like that? So it was just,
oh, there was no shop.
There was no shop whatsoever, and that confused the ever living fuck out of me, because even in FF, a game that you rarely ever touch shops, like
there was no NPC shops.
Like I can count on one hand the amount of times I've ever used a shop, an NPC shop in FF, but they're still there. In fucking New World, not a single NPC shop, not a single telling NPC like, oh, hey, I'm a stonecutter. Because there's a lot of quests that will sit there and be like, acquire this material or acquire that, right? And it's like, okay, but I need to say tanned wolf skin or whatever. You can't go to like a hunter or something like that and then buy tanned wolf, buy wolf skins, and then you make it into tanned wolf skin. Right.
Yeah, and a lot of people were asking, like, in the chat, like, is there a person you can sell to? Where do I sell this stuff? So a lot of people were like grinding the mining stuff because it's easier to level up their mining and cutting or whatever. Like, it's easier to level that than it is to actually level at this point. People are grinding that shit and then selling it on the market.
Yeah, and then just selling it on the market because, like,
the market was just imploded with like stone and wood and shit like that.
Yeah, it was filled like.
That's how they would make.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna buy it because it's too easy to get.
Yeah, because it's extremely easy to get. And the thing is that, like, yes, I do want skills like that to be easy to acquire. Like, I do want, you know, crafting and gathering to be accessible to everyone, because in Final Fantasy, they aren't. They really aren't. You have to either be rich enough to be a crafter so you can actually buy and make your own shit, right? Or the same thing with the gatherer. You have to be rich enough to buy to buy a, what do you call it? To buy your weapons, gear, and all of that. So it's like, I don't want it to be a paywall, a in-game paywall to get to higher levels or to be better at it. I like that it's just like, hey, you want to go out and chop that tree down? Make a stone axe. Go make your stone axe.
Yeah.
You cut down this tree. Now you have wood. Now you can go get whatever and whatever else, and you can make an iron axe, and now you can upgrade it like that. And it's from the stuff that you upgrade that you yourself can make stuff. So it's like your own progression, and not, I'm a gatherer, so I'm gonna have to go pay this other dude to craft my shit now. So yeah, that's something I super loved about the game, that it was very accessible, very much like, okay, you can make your shit, and then you can go off and like actually craft and gather and do stuff like that.
A lot of things that were like semi-important to do stuff was not explained either. Like the modes to do stuff was never explained. Like every time I was in the game, someone was always asking, "Oh, where do you get this mode? What is this mode for?" And like I always found myself like, as a normal person you should answer them. Like if you know the answer, answer them. Don't just be a dick and ignore it, right? I always answer them. So a lot of people were asking, well, where do you get fire nodes? It's like, oh, this is how you get it. This is where you can find it, and this is how you get it. Like what level you have to be. And a lot of people were like, thanks, I didn't know. Like I did a bunch of quests. Nothing was explained. So like you just have to stumble.
It's hardly anything.
Yeah,
is
you just
explained.
have to stumble.
Like the one thing that
yeah.
Well, see, the one thing that I really enjoyed to do was go and kill the corrupted zones, but never once was there even a tutorial or lore or anything or warning about telling me what these corrupted zones are, right? So you would think in the lore saying, or your faction, you get like this notification saying, hey, there is a corrupted zone or whatnot. Please go and like subjugate it or whatnot. But like, it's just, there was nothing. You just see this random red marker on the map and you go up to and you end the corrupted zone. There was like, without even knowing what it really is. It's like, there's no lore.
Yeah, like I 100%
no lore,
understand
no
that. Like, yeah, it's a new game. It still has stuff to go and stuff like that. But like, if this is what it is at this point right now, it's not ready.
It looks
it's not
very.
Ready. It's not something we would really want to play.
Its future looks very bleak, honestly. If this is the product that say it comes out February, March of 2021, right? But let's do super early release date, and this is basically the state it comes out in. This game is gonna flop.
No. Yeah, it's gonna end. Like, this is what I think. This is what they were actually trying to release it at.
It's not. It's
like
not ready.
It's not ready.
Nowhere near ready. It's super unstable. Like, me and Boo Boo don't have crazy good computers. No, we don't, and you do. But the fact that you have to run it on high graphics, and even when I was running it on low graphics to try to fix the lag in the cities and just loading in general, it was intense. Like, you could barely, like, Nero could barely fucking move, like, at all.
And in the cities, like me and Yuki have like very similar computers, so it was just like me being able to like move around or whatever. Like me in the overworld when I was outside of the city, I was okay. I had a spike maybe here, like once in a blue moon, right? I'd get a lag spike once in a blue moon, but when I'd go into the city, I kid you not, would probably take me 20 to 25 minutes to go in. I'd have to wait for the NPC to load in, talking to the NPC would be another like 3 to 4 minutes because I'd have to wait for the text box itself to load. Anything like that, and all of that had to load, and I'd had to sit there and I had to wait. Waiting.
You had all the recommended settings,
yes,
right?
I had
like the recommended
I had everything
specifications?
below. My field of vision was down to like the least it could be. I had it like the only thing that was missing was me turning down the resolution, but I couldn't do that because my mouse would end up going off the window.
Usually, the recommended settings would usually mean you're going to get 60 FPS in everywhere you go. That's what the recommended settings. I don't even get 60 FPS everywhere. It's hard for me to even keep 60 FPS. Like, there's only tiny little areas where there's literally nothing loading in the sense of when I look in the direction of the ocean, I get, 90 FPS?
Yeah.
But those towns, I was getting 30 FPS, and then the game decided to eat more RAM, like freaking 9 gigabytes of RAM, and now I have 15 FPS randomly. It is so bad.
Those walking into those towns, awful. Just being in those towns is absolutely fucking awful.
Yeah, and even sometimes when you're if you're near, say you don't have the best computer, and I saw a lot of people, I never experienced this, but I saw a lot of people talking about this in chat, asking how to fix it, and unfortunately I still don't know till this day. I don't know how to fix it. Yeah. But if some people were near stuff that spawns because it has the particle effects and then it just brings it up from the ground, I guess. If some people were near that, it would either freeze their game up, their game would go to not responding, or it would totally crash them.
Crash them outright.
It would totally crash them. So what I think what they're doing is that some of I never saw this. I could see under the world, but I never saw any creatures or anything. But to my knowledge, or not to my knowledge, but to my what I think is that there's a bunch of just random shit under us, and when something dies after a time limit, it raises it up from under us and puts it in the world.
And I wouldn't be surprised considering the times of graphical errors that would happen that you'd be able to see through the floor.
Yeah, the floor was transparent. Yeah. When I was coming out of the town that one day.
Yeah.
And there's a whole other town underneath.
Exactly. So.
I actually have recording of that. I can see through the floor at a certain point when I was messing with the graphics from
low to high. You can see the town under us. Why? I don't understand why a game would have that. There's a lot of games that I've played, even FF. I've played, and there's been the first time you log in, sometimes if your resolution is really low or slow, it doesn't register the ground yet. The ground is usually the last thing it registers, and you can see what's under them. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of the world, the buildings above or whatever, a little thin particle or whatever underneath. That's fine, but it's a copy of the entire freaking town. That's crazy. Exactly. Why would you put that in the circles that are popping up out of the ground? Those are not explained in the lore at all. I don't know what they are.
What's
a bunch of them under us. Why do we need to render all of this?
Especially since I going back to that previous point where it's people were oh, why is it that when enemies spawn I crash? I'm pretty sure what was happening was that the game would render it below what we could see, play the animation, slowly push that model up, then re-render it when it was on top of the ground.
Who the heck does
it shouldn't be like that. As a game tester, stuff like that, when we do it, we have to remove it. It has to be removed. Say there's a copy of another mob, or even especially if it's a building, if it's not entered into a load screen, we have to remove it and rewrite the entire world to fix that. It's a complete rework to fix that. Just that little problem. Say someone accidentally left a boss or something under the world, because some games have a small little area room that has every single item in there, just for testing reasons. Like we have some games have those. But again, it's a small little room, and it's way, way, way under the world. It's not connected.
It's not connected to anything.
Not connected to
where
we are.
You're not gonna load it in.
And even if like say there's like a window just in the same spot as the window where the players can see, game testers and rewriters, we have to rewrite the entire world just to get rid of that line of code. Just to remove that graphic. Like it can't stay there because it causes problems in its own. Even like the world has to think of the world as a person. It has to think about, okay, what do I have to render first? What comes first? It's going to render those two pieces of glass at the exact same time. And it could wreck a lot of people up, but rendering everything and considering how high graphics this game is, like it's so pretty, it's so realistic and shit like that, and it has to do that, plus it has to render it twice.
Yeah, I had to.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I had a problem. What do you call it? See, the thing is that like, I think this game is very pretty, but I feel like, what do you call it? Like when it came to the world itself, I never really felt immersed. Right? Like, I want it. In my opinion, I would like to do one of two things. Right? One of two things would be really cool if they did. If they did either add what do you call it? So you either add a soundtrack to, points of the game and have it be a subtle transition between areas, right? So if you have like a generic town song, like it be a subtle change from, say, the field theme, like a field theme that makes you feel like a field theme versus like your town theme, right? So you'd have either that, or you'd have a like what Breath of the Wild does, right? Where it's pretty quiet. It's very, very quiet, but usually you hear.
Yeah, I don't know if you've have you played RuneScape before?
No, I never played RuneScape.
Basically, every single area that you go to has a different song. Like you can
I don't want that, because at the end of the day, then it's like, okay, well, there's at that point, that's a lot of work on the developers, and
Yeah.
But like, say for instance, how familiar are you guys with Zelda?
Not
at
familiar
all.
at all.
Oh, well. Shit. There goes my whole thing. But like, okay, so
like, well, Zelda has not every area has a different song, but like it's every major area has a song.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like, same in your grassy area, right? You have in your grassy area, you have this theme, and all the towns share this like grassy area theme, right? So every town in this grassy area, your fire area has its own fire area field theme, and then you have your fire area like town theme. So every town in there shares the same theme, and they'd be different, but they'd be a subtle change into the town theme, right? So I'd like either that.
So like it just quiets out and then
either quiets out, or make it so that I don't know if you'd be able to do it to be like at any point in the song, if there is a transition, for it to be like a almost simultaneous swap into the new song, or the quiets out, then the new song starts out. So either that, or do what Breath of the Wild does, like keep the very atmospheric, like you can crickets, you can hear locusts, you can hear say cicadas or whatever, and you hear wind brushing and trees waving and all that, and you hear all of that, but every now and then have moments that are like accented by a very soft instrument, like the piano, or something like maybe a harp or something like that, something that like feels very much of the time and like can fit the world a bit better. Because I feel like I was very unimmersed, and it came down to being the soundtrack is very much a huge chunk of it.
Yeah. Like, when I first hopped in this game, I thought the lore would be a little bit more than what it is. Like, for me, there's literally no lore. Like, when I went over to an area where those enemies are at, I expected there to be some sort of intriguing thing about it, not just random enemies over there and loot certain chests. Like that literally was it. Enemies and chests, yeah, they have this cool looking statue, but what else? There's nothing to explore. There's nothing I can walk into, or there's not a big boss that I could fight in there, or all there is just normal enemies with just random chests lying around. And those chests are constant, and you can keep coming back to it. So it's literally just a constant grind, because like the missions would be like, go to this area, kill 10 of these, or go to this area, loot 5 chests. And that's literally the mission.
Yeah.
Kill these enemies, loot 5 chests.
That's one of the biggest things that made me not like the game, was the fact that every mission was the same. It was either A, go kill 5 to 25 of these things, or go loot 6 chests in this area,
or both,
or both at once.
Yeah.
Or both.
So yeah, it was like,
and the chests are not like they're like, I understand like the chests aren't supposed to be super easy to find or anything like that, but a lot of the time it was like, okay, I've looted every single chest in this area. Why can I not? Why is it not saying that I'm finished? And even some of the ones, some of the time when I've like very rarely, I'll loot one and it won't count.
Oh, because the item
and
doesn't drop,
like,
yeah.
Well, I've looted all the ones in town, and now I have to wait 35 minutes for all of this stuff to respawn to come back for me.
Yeah, it's that, as well as the fact of like when you kill things and you're asked like, oh, get this drop from this mob, but also killed like 25 of them, and they ask you for like 18 of whatever. That shit's RNG'd. And that pisses me the fuck off, because it's like, I'm putting in the work to kill these mobs and blah, blah, whatever, and I've killed 25 of these, but I only have 8 of the drops.
The PvP missions, it is 100% drop rate for the PvP missions. For the PvE missions, however, they're not 100% drop rate.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, I'd expect them to be the other way around, but honestly, it should just be 100% drop rate across the board. Because
if it's for a quest, yes, 100% drop rate, regardless of what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it just because you want to grind for it or something, then okay, then make it a chance.
Yeah, then you can make it RNG,
Like, say, like, there is, like, games do that all the time. If you want to make it, go gather this, go gather that, then make it a % drop rate if the game reads that you are on this quest. If you are not, then, yeah, have it randomized. Like, it's not fair.
Yeah. Especially, what makes it even worse is that, say, I'm killing these zombies or whatever, right? And they drop, like, potatoes or whatever, and you need to get these sacks of potatoes from these zombies. They ask you to kill 25 of the zombies and to get 18 sacks of these potatoes. Someone else who is on that quest, if you kill a zombie and a zombie drops that sack of potatoes, they will see it. So what a lot of times will happen is that you'll kill something, the loot will drop, and they will run and fucking gank your shit.
Yeah.
And I
will confess that I have done that. I'll hit something once, and then the loot will drop. I'll let someone else kill it. The loot will drop, and I will speed run my butt
and sprint,
spam E and grab it and keep going like I didn't even see it.
Yeah, there was a time when I was in PvP mode, and because I had too much iron or whatnot, and I was walking all the way back because I was encumbered. and this dude wanted to PvP with me, and if I didn't PvP, he probably would just kill me randomly because I had too much weight. So I dropped all this iron, and because I messed up and accidentally didn't take out my sword and shield, I could not change to my sword and shield because I only had my musket in my hand, and I died. I came back, my iron was gone. So someone yoinked that.
and like that's the thing that it's like, so it's like that's what I don't like is that like someone else so like I kill the thing, then I should be the one who gets that drop. Like that should be a client side thing.
Well, I think it's more of I think it's more of like, okay, so say everyone's doing the same quest or whatever, right? As long as you damaged it, you should be able to pick it up. But it shouldn't be just you that picks it up. It's anybody who's attacked it gets the same drop.
Whoever would get kill credit, right? So it's like, say us three are in a party and you hit it once, I hit it once, Jojo killed it. So Jojo being the one that killed it and everything, and all of us getting kill credit, we all see that item because it's a quest item. So we can all go and pick it up because all that's
all go get it because it's for quest. But
exactly.
But then if it's...
Well, I believe that's actually how it is. If it's for a quest, right, like, it drops for you, and everybody can pick it up. Like, a lot of people can't... No one can see that if they don't have the quest.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That, like, if someone else has the quest...
Yeah. If someone else has the quest, they'll come get it, and then you won't get it.
Yeah, they'll come and
that's the problem that is right now. And, like I've said, I've done that, and I've had a lot of people, like, whisper me and say, hey, I needed that. And I'll go, sorry, I didn't see it. Like, I thought it was, like, just a random drop or something like that, right? You know what I mean? Just to avoid a fight, because I don't like, I don't like confrontation.
Yeah, no.
Everybody just wants to yoink.
Because I've done it too. Like, I'm 100% guilty of it. There was someone who killed a wolf, needed the hide, but I needed it more. I went and I fucking ran to it, spammed E, and I was the one skinning that shit. This is my hide. And then it's like, they were like,
oh my
it was
gosh,
like, like, Nero, I needed that, blah, blah, whatever. And it's just like, either A, wouldn't respond or be like, yeah, I need it more. You know?
Yeah, you need it more. How do you know you need it more, Nero? Come on, man.
Yeah, no, but again, in order to avoid situations like that, because as a player, we've been forced to do shit like that. Because we know that if we kill something, someone else can easily come in and steal it as well. So, as a player, as a player base, it becomes finders keepers. And that honestly is gonna be a huge downside of the game. That, as well as the fact that there is no dedicated trade system.
Yeah, you can't trade with your friends, so you have to go somewhere high, drop it, and then
the items,
and then basically protect it while your friend grabs it.
Yeah, while your friend grabs it. Yeah.
Remember when I picked up those arrows and musket bolt, thinking that there was actually a trade system? I thought he was just randomly discarding it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and stuff like that happens. And that shit happens a lot. Like, the fact that there is no trade system is like, okay, well, I have all the, I have this stuff that I want to give to my friend. Yeah, let's go hide in this corner of the fucking map.
Make sure no one joins my shit.
Drop our shit, and then the other picks up what the other wants to go or whatever.
There's a game similar like this. I can't remember what it was, but like people would follow you across the map just so that they control the shit out of you and take your shit. And a good thing, I haven't experienced that in this thing. At least the community is a little bit courteous, right? Like, but it's just, I don't want that. I don't want people having the
because once this game goes public, I'm willing to bet that will happen almost every other time. I'm willing to bet.
Yeah.
if they don't implement any sort of trade system.
Yeah, they better make a trade system, and having like an animation for it would be cool too. But that might be going over and up beyond right now. But one thing that they do have to fix is the animations for the spellcasters, because that shit is jank.
Animations in general, honestly, are jank as fuck. And what do you call it? Because there's a lot of times where I do the spinny spin, and I wouldn't be lagging whatsoever. So I do my spinny spin on my sword, and my dude would just T-pose. I'd see the ring around me, and then I'd go back into the sword and shield. I don't know if it's happened to anyone else, and I wish I had it recorded. It was like right after I stopped recording, but it was like I did a spin. It's just like I'd hit. I think it's like Q or whatever. So like I'd hit Q, and then it was like my dude would T-pose. Well, not T-pose. He would like A-pose. The particle or whatever would go around me, and then he'd go back into the stance that you usually have when you have your sword and shield out.
What? Jeez, what is wrong with your
I don't know, but like at the end of the day, like that's an error that needs to be fixed.
The issue is it's not just him. Like other people, like if you actually sit and read the chat, people are asking questions like, "Why is this happening? How come I can't render this?" And a lot of the time, like when we first got in there, most of the chat was, I'm having lag problems, like I'm lagging here, I'm doing this. And then other people are like, oh, well, my spec to this, and I get 60 FPS, and then blah, blah, blah. Nobody asked what your frames were.
It's not,
Nobody asked for your specs,
it's not about specifications in this game, because people who literally had a 2080 Ti was getting 30 frames. So, it's a lot, it's so much more than that. Like, this game is just buggy to the oblivion for terms of optimization. Like,
and to my knowledge, they already did the optimized thing.
Yeah, we're quote already at
to your knowledge.
Well, yeah, because they had that like stress test or whatever earlier. No, they had the density. Yeah, they have a density test. So
that means this version should have been more playable, and it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly, and this version wasn't really playable. Again, like you're the only one.
It was actually less. Well, yeah, I played the density test, and actually I was getting less frames on the... I had more problems on the density test when I did. When I first launched the game, as you could tell by the video I sent you, nothing wanted to load in, so it literally was just ocean, and I could walk through shit, I was falling through the ground, and all sorts of things. I had to close the game and relaunch, and then I was fine afterwards, but I didn't really get to play much at all. But, like, it was definitely like...
Yeah, like we weren't... nobody was expecting the game to be like that. And I understand, like, that it's... What is this? Beta alpha or something like that?
This is the alpha?
I've never experienced this lag before.
But you know what I mean? You know what I mean, though? Like, it's beta and it shouldn't be like this. Like, for it to be classified...
As a beta, Like... Every single MMORPG I've ever played, every single game I've ever played, it has never been like this unless I screwed up something with mods or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Like what do you call it? When it came to, when it came to pretty much any beta test I've ever played, it's always been really, really well done. It is very, very, very close to the way the final product would work. The only thing that would probably be changed is if there's some sort of combat in the game, is damage numbers being adjusted, or the look of something being changed from the beta to what do you call it?
Like,
or
right now,
abilities being slightly changed, and that would be it. But
right now, this still feels like alpha.
It feels very much like an alpha. It doesn't feel at all like a beta whatsoever.
Well, see, what they're calling this is a preview. They're not calling it alpha, or they're not calling it beta, or they're calling it a preview test because they literally said, well, because the alpha testers did not like what they received, we are pushing the game back to 2021. You can still, however, for the people who sign up for the beta test, are able to play this, play on the August 25th, right? You're able to play the state the game was currently in. So that's why they call it preview test. So technically, they've changed it from beta to preview test, saying they're going to change a shit ton of it, apparently.
Then it'd be an alpha. So we're basically playing an alpha version.
Yeah, it would be an alpha, basically an alpha, yeah. Like, I really do. They hope they change a lot of it, not just the optimization, but add tons more. Maybe, hopefully, add dungeons or something that make it feel more alive.
More
in the sense
skills
of the
would be great.
More skills to fit different play styles, because
let the healing actually be healing and not one. It's like healing at the very beginning is basically the same as eating food. Like you might as well just bring a bunch of food on you, and it's the same as using a life staff. Like unless you level that life staff like a lot, and level like put majority of like your level skills, like the skill points, into your like damage meter, like for magic, you're not gonna do any healing.
Yeah, and what do you call it? Especially considering the fact that like I want I want it to also fit different playstyles, you know what I mean? Like I want, like, if I'm a bow, like if I just want to play bow, like exclusively just bows my shit. Okay, if I can carry up to say 1,000 arrows or whatever, or more, or however the fuck many I want, I want to be able to be like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to be a closer range archer, or more mid-range archer with lots of movement? Okay, well here's like a backflip ability that will let you create distance between you and your target. Here's a sniper, like here's basically a sniper thing if you want to be like here's a sniper mod or a sniper ability that you can get to whatever, you know what I mean?
Like I was thinking, because the musket would be nice if like once you level up the skill sniper, you basically put a scope on your thing, and when you like zoom in, you zoom into the scope or whatnot. That would be pretty cool. Like there's a lot of things that they could add on. Like right now, if this is what we get for the skill wise, I'm not gonna complain much. Like it's not something that is game breaking. Like the only things game breaking is the lag, is the lack of content, the lack of variety in quests, and no dungeons, and nothing immersive with the enemies. Like too much of the same thing basically. Not enough tutorials, and
I feel like when it comes to this game, it's just not enough of it being an actual game. Like game. Not not to really be an asshole or anything like that.
I would not classify this as an MMORPG. Like you said, it's like a single player.
It is very much just like, I just feel like I'm playing a game. I'm just playing fucking...
Yeah, it's not an RPG because it's not really role-playing. There's no role.
There's no role to play in this game.
Yeah. Like you're not some sort of hero, or you're not some sort of, you're just
you're just
go do whatever you want.
You're just some fucking whatever dude that all of a sudden shit started happening, and then you're like, okay, you're getting placed into whatever. And again, like I said, that a lot of the time story isn't really all that big for me, because I am, unless it's a single player game, because I tend to stick to very story driven single player.
For me, is like, you need a story to start yourself off, to figure out what you do, what you can prepare, like the tutorials. Like a story basically initiates the tutorials, initiates the people that you meet for the tutorials, initiates a lot of things, is what the story does. But like, you don't have to go, in a lot of games, you don't have to do the story quest. You can still do whatever the stuff, but that story quest is what's going to initiate everything. Like, this game doesn't really do that, per se. It doesn't take you to people that you need to know, or it doesn't teach you what you really need to know. It doesn't teach you any of the lore. Like, to me, it's not really a story quest. There is no story quest. It's just all, hey, how's it going? Bye. That's the story. Hi, bye. You can go do whatever you want now. There's no story in this game.
Yeah, I can definitely see what you mean.
Like I don't want this video to go too long. It's already been like 1 hour or 50 minutes since we're recording or whatnot. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Because think we've talked about pretty much
Mounts.
everything.
Mounts,
Mounts.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of the times where it's just like there's very long distances that I need to travel, and I have to
and the map's
walk
getting
there.
bigger.
And yeah, I can auto run all I want, but fucking auto run is not gonna save me from the the 30-minute run. It's gonna be from point A to point B, and it's just like I don't want to go back to FF11. I quit for a reason.
Well, apparently, this is only 25% of the map.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a small percentage
It's gonna be like I was about to say but it's gonna get even worse with more shit that gets added later.
Yeah, it's like what I'm thinking is like the in-game content, right? You get to the in-game gear, it already looks like tier 5 already looks pretty cool, and it already looks like that's what we're gonna have the in-game gear. If this is only 25% of the map, are they saying, oh, we're gonna have different starting positions all around the world? Is what I'm thinking is like if they do that, like we were talking earlier, they have to have a starting position to choose from. Because if they do something like that, that 3 kilometers that Yuki, how far she was, is gonna turn into freaking 50.
Yeah,
if they don't fix that, if they have different
inside. Yeah,
I'm just like, dude, oh gosh, because like right now it seems like that. This is really the game itself. The map seems too small, and it already seems like this is the official game because they already have the in-game area over in that top corner, because all it is a bunch of corrupted, and they're freaking 60 monsters. They will one-tap you, and they already have the best gear in the game, and if that area, you have to use the best gear to get that game. It seems like of those other areas have to be different starting.
But like at the end of the day, since leveling in MMOs is always exponential.
Yep.
It is gonna be. I feel like it's gonna get to the point where it's just gonna be an absolute nightmare to do anything with the gear in this game, because I know me, Catboy, and Yuki had this conversation, but what the fuck is the deal with the colors of the weapons? Because you'd have green be uncommon, right? But it'd still be weaker than your white common weapon in terms of item level power.
Because of the tiers. Yeah, see, I guess, well, yeah, that's what's green, but once you get it up a little bit more, because I found a legendary shield for tier 3, which is level 20, it's still better than a tier 4 gear. Does that make sense? Because it's a legendary thing. It's supposed to be. It's a legendary until you get higher or get a legendary tier 4 gear. Like, I like that idea. If it's legendary, it's supposed to be, because it's legendary. It has the name in it. It's supposed to mean that if you find this thing, you're going to be most likely better than most people at your level, and maybe a little bit better at the people that are above your level, right? So, because it's like, what, usually it's stupid RNG to get one of those legendary things. So some games, it's literally 0.1% to get that, so of course they gotta have high stats on it. Like, but that's only for the legendary. Like,
yeah, but I'm talking about, like, because, like, I think I had, like, a Staff of Life that was green, and I gave it to Yuki, and she told me that, like, yeah, this is worse than what I have on right now. And what you had on at the moment was
like
a
a
white
basic
weapon
starter one.
It's like random generated.
I even had a purple
I kept finding
one
common gear
that was weaker than my fucking starter one. I was like,
the common one.
No, the background was purple, and it was a fire one. The background was purple, and I bought it because I was like, oh, purple means it's better, right? Like, obviously. And when I went to equip it actually had all the numbers were in red, which means it's worse. And I was like, how does that make any sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because see, stats don't connect to the I guess a big margin of them doesn't actually connect to what grade, like whatever grade the purple or color,
but that's what I'm saying.
Because
like it should.
Once you green, right? Yeah, it should. See, once you get a green weapon, you get what is it? Sort of a stat boost in the terms of 3% more and blah blah blah. And then once you get blue, there's 2, and then purple is 3, and then legendary I don't know. I have to check my thing. Like, I believe that's what it means. What they mean by that, because you can make a crafted weapon.
Yeah.
You can make a crafted sword that's a common that has 20 more points if you randomly made a crafted legendary gear. You know, that because. The only reason why they're legendary is because they have those extra little bonus things on it with
but don't call them that then. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not really legendary.
And even like my purple weapon had this little gem slot in it, but it was never like there's no quest that I could pick up or whatever that, or even in tutorial quests that it could explain what these are and how you use them, because I had a bunch of gems on me because I picked them up from mobs, and I tried to like click and drag or whatever, and it wouldn't do anything. And then even like the dying thing, like when you got dyes, like some of the quests just give you dyes, but when you hover over it, it just says use this to die, and it's like, okay, what can I dye? Because I tried to dye my staff.
How do I dye?
I tried to dye a lot of the stuff that I had on me.
I think you can dye the shields because my shield is a brand
it's
weird
not explained to you that you can do this.
Yeah.
Or how you do this. Like a lot, you have to just sit and figure it out. And I understand like it being a thing, but even hovering over it, it just says this is a dye to dye items. Okay, how? Like how do I do that? And the crafting thing is the same way. Like you hover over it and it says you need this item to create this. Okay, so where can I? And then you go to that item and it doesn't tell you how you make it. Like, do you go to a loom? Do you go to a smith or whatever? It doesn't tell you that. Even show a picture or something, like anything.
Another issue, right? Another issue with the stupid tier type of things is because I get to a point where I'm level 35 and my gear has to be level 35 gear, but I have to go to a tier 3 place to craft the things that I need to craft my gear. And the problem with that, the towns don't have they don't have their tiers upgraded, and I can't figure out where the heck ones do. There's no way on the map or anywhere else to figure out if they have tiers unless you actually go to that place directly.
And look at the name, right? Like,
exactly.
Why can't I just press M, look at all the tiers of what that place has, and then
it would make because it would make life too easy.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the biggest thing that like. I feel like if anything, towns should just have the best looms or have the best stone cutters or whatever. Because you have to go out of your way to go to a town. If
what I wanted was they have the faction towns, right? What I want is like, you have faction towns and then you have guild towns, and these guild towns can be started from scratch and then upgraded up would be pretty nice. So. That's what the faction. So like the normal towns and then faction towns. These faction towns can be upgraded, and then you have the normal towns that you don't have to really do anything with the faction. Like that's the starter stuff, but it shouldn't be.
Well, I'd say if anything, you'd have the stuff in towns. Period. Right. So like in this idea of yours where you have these faction towns, you'd have all these high quality looms. You'd all have the max quality of looms, and if you wanted to, like, because there is a housing system in this game, none of us have touched it as far as I'm aware. I don't know if you or Capoy have touched it, but since there is a housing system in this game, I feel like there should be a way for you to, say, furnish your house with these things, right? So.
Oh yeah, put a higher tier.
I'm saying like, so say you get you furnish your house with a loom. You get a tier 1 loom, and then you have to upgrade it by either using it or like
I think like
getting items or something like that.
Using it to level it it's a lot easier because it goes with the weapons, right? If you use the weapon to level the weapon. So if you can buy a starter loom in your home, or say once you buy it, every home gets a welcome home package, and it comes with a starter loom and a tiny little furnace thing to do that kind of stuff on.
Yeah, the forging and stuff like that. Yeah.
So say it starts with that kind of stuff, and then you have to use it to upgrade it, and then the more you upgrade it, it says, do you want to upgrade? And if you click yes, it takes you into creation mode or whatever, I guess furnishing mode, I guess it would be called.
Yeah, like in
BDO. You have to move it somewhere. It got bigger, so you have to put it somewhere else. You know what I mean? Exactly. And you can cancel it,
or you have to make it.
And then you can cancel it if there's no room for it, and keep it at that spot. And then at the bottom corner, there should always just be an upgrade available.
Yeah, there should be. Yeah, exactly. Like she said, it's like keep it.
If they're gonna do that, though, they're gonna have to change it where anybody can own that house, because there's only 3 people that can own a house.
You can do it. You can do it the way FF does it. The way FF does it, although in the fact that it doesn't have instance housing is a bad thing when it comes to FF. FF's housing is very well done. Like,
you can set people to be able to put stuff in your house, and
you can set it up so that people are considered tenants of your house. So, and the owner of the house, the person who actually bought the house, is able to say, okay, we can get. Yeah, who can enter, who can garden, who can place stuff down, who can dye stuff, who can do this, who can do that, who can do whatever. Yeah. So,
well, what I was talking about is BDO, right? Anybody can own that house if they want to make it a house, and anybody can visit other people's houses and whatnot. So it's like the Final Fantasy, whatever, you want to visit certain blocks or whatnot of that. At the housing area. Like, BDO basically has that for each house. Like, if they were saying, like, because if people can block everybody out of the house saying, I don't want nobody to use my looms and stuff, and everybody's just gonna have to use the tier 1 crap shit in the town, right? And everybody's like, you know how people are. Everybody's very
but I still feel like I don't think it'd be cool if, like, just anyone could use your shit.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no one be able to use your shit in the sense unless you let them. That's why I was saying have each house available to anybody, because you don't see them when they go in the house anyways. When I was checking out the houses, no one can see me when I'm in the house. So it's basically another area in a sense, and they can't see you and whatnot. So you're.
I get what you mean, and I get what you're trying to do. But at the same time, it's like, I think that at the end of the day, instance housing should still be, it should just be a thing. Like, if you're in the game, that area is yours. If you are not, other people can come in, buy it, and then if you're both logged in at the same time, you can both go into the house, and it goes into both of your respective houses.
Like a load screen kind of thing.
Yeah, a load screen. So it's like, say you have a small plot, right? And both you and some other dude have that plot. Okay, well, both of you are able to walk up to the house, load in, and you load into your own personal home.
Yeah, because then it solves a lot of issues doing that, but it will put a lot of strain on the server itself. But if, like I said, if they take away the loading from underground up, it'll solve a lot of lag issues. Like, having the game on my computer alone lagged my computer.
Yeah. My
entire computer freezes.
Yeah, our computers actually started to freeze. Like, there was a time where we were playing Minecraft, it lagged. Like, Minecraft stopped responding. My entire computer stopped responding. As soon as I got rid of New World, Minecraft stops responding. Like, everything else is fine.
So this is the only game that has managed to freeze my entire computer. Like, I can still talk in Discord, but I think my graphics card lags up or something.
Yeah, it does.
And it just it shows just disappear. Like, it just
it just does something to your game. It's like to your whole computer. Like, it fucks up all of your shit. And it's just like, why? We don't know.
Some games do that, and I've never known why they do certain things like that, but it just does. But, alright, well, we've been recording for 1 hour and 30 minutes, so we should probably, like, stop it here.
I mean...
Yeah.
I have nothing else to say. I feel like something's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't know it right now, so... Yeah.
We could put that in the pros and cons. We can do a separate video.
We could do a whole separate video if you want on
Yeah, on a shorter version of this 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it for me. Like I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. What about you, Yuki?
I just say put more skills in the game and make healing actually healing. And more like, why do I have to do fire and healing? Why can't I just do like ice or elemental? Why can't it be? Why can't it be elemental and more than healing?
Just be cool if you could like press a skill that literally switches it into different modes you want to. Like, what if I want to be lightning? I want to be ice, fire.
Yeah, and like, why am I strict to 3 skills? Yeah. Like, look at all the skills they give us.
Basically, you mean use one staff and you can switch between modes of whatever you want.
Kind of. Like, why do I have to be restricted to just 3 skills? Like, why can't I have like one staff that if I cast something, it'll switch me to that mode, and it'll also switch my hotbar to something to change. So every skill has its own ability. Like fire has the spin thing, right? So why not get an ice version of that, or a wind version that has a pushback or something like that? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
honestly,
why can't I have something like that? Like,
yeah, like honestly, like again, like the only experience I have with that is obviously just watching Yuki play it, but I feel like it'd be cool if it worked similar to FF's Black Mage, right? So, say you use a fire skill, like you get say you get three or 4 more keys, right? That you can just use on 4 skills. If you use a thunder skill, your entire hotbar turns to thunder moves, except for one that will switch you back to, I guess, a neutral state, which then you can use, say, an ice skill, and then and so on and so forth. I feel like that would be really cool if they did that.
I'm like not trying to like turn this game to FF or anything. Like I know it's trying to be unique or anything, but why do I have like X amount of skills, but I'm restricted to 3? Like, there's some abilities that you have to go through to get to another ability, but it's like, okay, but now I'm accustomed to this one and I like it, but I still want to use this one, and now I have to figure out what do I have to swap out to use this. Just give me a 1 to 9 hotbar with like all my skills on it.
You want a 1 to 9 hotbar?
Like, you know what I mean?
Or like PSO, like where you have to, press and hold shift, and you have a whole other set of like 3 moves. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I have these 3 moves, but I also have these other 3 moves, or I have, or you can use shift, control, and alt modifiers that you could just be like, okay, shift goes to this, alt goes to this other one. So then it's like, okay, well, shift goes to all my AoE abilities, like if you want to organize it or whatever, it goes like shift, it goes to all my AoE abilities, alt is all my status, or controls all my status abilities, and base is just all the regular abilities that I'm going to be using on a constant. Like do something like that for the abilities. Like I feel like that would be really cool.
Yeah.
But it's just more abilities and just them being better, like better looking and better feeling, honestly. Because there's a lot of the times when I do like the spin or I do the backstep where it just didn't feel good, and you know, like, yeah, sure, the animation's, you know, mediocre, but like, it's just like, oh, cool, I did the backstab. There's no flash. There's no anything. It's just very basic. Which, I mean, I get it. They're trying to go for a medieval standpoint, but at the same time, like, I think it'd be cooler if they'd add like a little bit more flair to the abilities, like a little bit more flair, so it feels like, you know, your, you know, big slam with your hammer, you know, maybe add like a little bit of a shock thing on the ground that you can see, you know, type thing, where it's like, okay, well, you know, you hit that enemy and you hit the ground, that you can see the ground waver around it. It's just like, because then that big slam felt like a big slam.
Yeah,
that's about it.
But yeah, that's about it.
Also, you wanted fishing.
All right.
Yeah, you did want fishing.
Yeah, fishing. If we're gonna have life skills, right, and cooking and whatnot, we need fishing, because just think about it. BDO, most people, they did fishing. Yeah, it's AFK worthy, but it's a lot more fun than chopping trees all day. Yeah, I love being a lumberjack. But,
then have fishing. Have fishing, not better. AFK. Like, say you have to watch the bobble or something.
Oh yeah, you can do realistic fishing. Yeah, you literally have to. Like,
this game's trying to be realistic, right? So have realistic fishing where you have to get a cast and then like have a bar come up or something, and it shows you how far you'll throw it.
Yeah, like
and then you have to watch the little bobble. Like, say a thing pops up, but that's its own thing.
Yeah, fishing. Yeah. Because I noticed there is fish that you can get as a food resource. So it was like, if there's fish, let there be fishing. So I can actually, you know, sit around and fishing if I want to, like, cook some seafood. Because each different type of food can have different benefits.
Because something like, you know, I don't know if you know this about me, JoJo, is that I fucking adore fishing in games.
You want to go to a lake? Or you go real fishing?
Real fishing. That involves outside.
Oh, come on.
That involves going outside, and you know how I feel about that. But I adore fishing, like, in games and stuff like that, and because a lot of the times they're just fun mini games. And if I'm gonna get, you know, fish and stuff like that, I feel like it'd be cool if they integrated stuff like, you know, you know, if you don't want the fish you caught, you can, you know, toss it back, or if you get a small fish, you can either A, use it to cook, or B, you can use it as bait to get a bigger fish, you know, and stuff like that. And it's like, have cool things that like start weaving itself into itself, if that makes sense. You know, and also like weaving it into other things. So like for botany, you know, you cut down this super tough tree, so you make the super durable fishing rod, and you know, and like
they need more varieties of trees. There's literally 3. There's tree, and then there's just other 2 actual different trees. Like, whereas the ores, there's a crap ton of different ores, but there's only 3 trees. Tree. Like, it would be nice if there was different trees for, you have tier 1, then tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. So like, let's say tier 1 is normal trees, and then tier 2 would be like oak trees, like in RuneScape. And then tier 3 a bit higher, different type of tree. Like, and just change that tree and put it like I know I've noticed that there's different actual trees that you can see, but it's still the same resource. So if you did something like how you actually had a different, like those different looking trees were actually different trees, you know, they could do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So I believe that is it. We did say enough pros and enough cons. We had a lot more cons than pros.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beta game, so it's gonna have more. It's gonna have more.
Yeah, it's beta game.
But overall, as a closing agreement, it is a pretty good game, and it has a lot of potential. but they do have to fix obviously everything that we've talked about and stuff like that.
And for me, as someone who like, I hate the game in the current state, but I am still looking forward to what is going to come of it, what New World is actually going to be, and I'm excited to see because, like Yuki just said, like it has a ton of potential. Like I said at the very throughout the entirety of this video, like it very much has a ton of potential, and I love a ton of stuff about it. It is great. It is so far a very good game from what we've talked about, the potential that it does have. It's like its potential is there. It's just
right now it is
a very bad game as of right now.
Yep.
All
right. Well, that was our first broadcast for New World, and I think we most likely will do more of these. And if you didn't notice, this is Yuki and Neryl. They are on the Discord all the time. If you guys want to hop in and just chat with all of us, you guys can. But yeah, this is our experience of New World. It was fun. While it lasted, the density test preview test is going to end soon on September 5th. And September 5th is actually my birthday.
Wow.
Weird flex, okay.
Weird flex. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If this video helped per se on your ideas of what New World is all about and what it can become, I hope it helped. As well as if you guys want to join us on Discord, like I said, hop in the Discord. I'll put it down in the link in the description and all this stuff. And again, thanks to all my Patreons that have been supporting me in the past, as well as the Patreons that are supporting me now. Thanks for all the help. And thanks again. I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, well, let me sing my lumberjack song while I do so. Lumberjack, I love being a lumberjack. Oh, God.
Oh, God, it's lagging.
Did I hear somebody in here?
Did
I hear a Fatal say F off? Fatal?
Shut up.
What are you doing over here? You telling me to shut up when I'm being a lumberjack? See, I'm doing the hard work in this town. You have no right to tell me lumberjacks to shut up. Alright?
Shut up.
Bruh. Folded. He's telling us lumberjacks to shut up. What are we gonna do about it?
Might have to cut down his trees.
That's right. We're gonna steal your wood. Your wood is ours.